Hello, thank you for checking in on my channel. We can go through a little bit of strategy for the Sunday night game between the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills. This is DFS, single game strategy. I like these games because I can kind of dial in on one particular game and it's just more fun to watch than the Red Zone channel, which I do love, but it's nice to get into the actual play of a game, the drama. It takes me back to old school football a little bit. Anyway, enough of memory lane. So we actually have this bumped up a little bit already, but Green Bay is very much an underdog in this game. Vegas, one site I saw had them at 7 points. I'm going to assume they're going to score a little bit more than that. I do like Buffalo to win this game by a bit. Again, this is like a single strategy. You can, if you're entering multiple lineups, which I do, I like to take Vegas look at it, set up my own plays, kind of the game flow, thinking Green Bay is going to pass more than rush. Probably somewhere around 46 plays in this game. And let's go with a little bit more rush. They do try and get it to Jones and Dillon. And the Bills love to pass and they love to beat up on people. So I'm going to throw this over here. So this is reasonable to put them about 68% passing, 33% rushing. And on this side of the ball, probably the same because they'll probably be fighting back. Maybe start rushing early and then abandon that. That's in this particular scenario. Again, I recommend, especially if you're doing the multiple lineups, try this on for size. Let's say Green Bay upsets Buffalo and plays amazing defense and Buffalo only scores 20, or Green Bay goes off somehow against Buffalo's defense and gets 32 points. Myriad of things could happen, but we're going to focus in on what Vegas tells us, which is kind of a low score. I'm going to put them at 13. Let's put Buffalo up. They're going to want to beat up on these guys. So, again, assuming we have a little bit heavier pass distribution than rushing distribution. Same on this side of the ball because they'll probably be throwing quite a bit in the end, dumping it off to Aaron Jones, etc. Okay, so now we have reasonable amount of plays to catch the score. Same on this side. I might bump this up a little bit. But I like this flow. So now it's up to me to decide who's going to get touchdowns and who's going to get the ball. So these are all statistical outputs based on season data. This is full season data, so some people you got to kind of monitor, like Gabriel Davis missed a couple games. So his receiving percentage might be a little bit lower than it actually should be, given that he was only active for 5 games out of the 7 so far. 7 or 8, I forget. So we'll come back to that, but let's start over here on Green Bay's side of the ball. I also like to take a look at the strength of Buffalo's defense using my other tool here. It's just kind of a graphical layout of who's healthy, who's injured, and it looks like the Bills are pretty healthy on defense. So yeah, this might be a really rough game for Green Bay. The Bills are heavy duty here. They got some great players on every position, really. Not going to give up a lot of yards, especially to Aaron Rodgers, who's struggling this year. So I wouldn't expect a lot out of Green Bay on the offensive side of the ball. You can see the Bills are number 1 in points allowed, number 1 in rushing yards. Jesus, 457 rushing yards. 12th in TDs. I mean, 4 rushing TDs. That's nothing. They do give up a little bit of passing, but, I mean, you're not going to score anything off of that. And they're 3rd in passing touchdowns. And 1st in interception. This is going to be a rough day for Green Bay. We can kind of make that assumption. Could be wrong. I always like to throw in one bet against, one team that's like the opposite side, so they get all the long shots. It pays out well in the grand prize tournaments, which I love. But let's just stick to our statistics here. So defense, Buffalo looking good. Not going to be a lot of points over here. Probably not even that many plays. I'm going to put them at about 33 passes, 17 rushes. maybe even less in the rush department because you're not going to get any yards off of that defense on the rushing. Probably be dumping it off to these guys. So 11 rushes, 37 passes, 49 plays. And again, I'm going to sneak that down to about like 12 points. That's like 2 field goals and a touchdown, maybe 13. Okay, Aaron Rodgers with 24 attempts is only going to catch about 135 yards. We have 1 TD to go around here. I'm going to assume it's going to come from the passing game, so that'll be Aaron Rodgers. So we're looking at like 10 points out of Aaron Rodgers. Not much, not worth betting on. Especially at his price for that day, would probably be pretty high. I haven't looked at that yet, but I'm not betting on Aaron Rodgers this day. Of course, I'll have him in some lineups. You never know with that guy, but not going to bank on it. Jordan Love, we can just hide. He's not going to do anything. Okay, down to the running backs. So Aaron Jones, 7 attempts at 43 yards. Dylan, this kind of split 50-50 between these guys. You know, it looks like Jones gets a little bit more of the passing down, so I'm also gonna bump him up on his rushing percentage a little bit. Probably a lot of check downs. Maybe give this guy a little bit of a bump here. So even with all that, 10 points isn't horrible, but you're still talking RB1, or at least that's what you want. Not someone I'm gonna bet the house on. You know, I've kind of imagined he's not gonna have that great of a day. Maybe he ekes out 10 points with receptions, PPR, etc. Dylan, not going to bank on him. Not a lot going on there. With Lazard out, he's doubtful for the weekend. Where's Lazard? Oh, he's out at this point. So the guy that comes up next in line for targets is Tunyon, and he's a pretty sure bet to catch. So, you know, maybe he's the guy that gets the reception touchdown. So maybe a little bit of a tight end play, but in the single game slate, you don't really play tight end. So I'm not going to bank on him. Maybe I'll have him in a couple lineups. You know, who else is going to catch that touchdown? You know, maybe Watkins for some reason. You know, none of these guys, Romeo Dobbs maybe, you know, none of these guys are going to score more than 12 points in this game. This is just a bad play on the Green Bay side of the ball. Unless something happens, you know, Aaron Rodgers somehow ekes out 2 touchdowns, and let's say Tunyon gets one of them, and I don't know. They just got nobody playing receiver right now either. Like, these are the bottom of the barrel for these guys. You know, maybe something weird happens, like Mercedes Lewis is the guy who gets the other one. He's not even getting any targets this year, so wouldn't bank on that. So, bad news on this side of the ball, but you got to play somebody. Probably Aaron Jones or Robert Tunyon would be my guess on this side of the ball. Given best case scenario where they actually score 2 touchdowns, Tunyon gets one of them, and let's say Aaron Jones somehow rushes one in, almost viable. Doubt this will happen though. Maybe. Okay, now into the other side of the ball. I look a lot of green here because we got Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis who are just like going off week to week. Gabe Davis has a lower target share. You know, statistically, he's going to look at about 6 here in this game. You know, maybe for whatever reason, bump that up just a tiny bit. Give him 4 out of 8. He's due for a pretty good game. Both these guys. Singletary, you know, is doing all right. I didn't see how Green Bay does on the other side of the ball. I mean, they're worst. This is the first against passing yards. I don't see how that could be the case. Maybe they are good, but that's probably just because people run the crap out of them. They're 27th in rushing yards, so 14th, giving up 146 points, 30th in turnovers, last in interceptions. Again, that's probably because nobody even bothers running against them. Passing against them. But that's not Buffalo Bills style of play. I don't see like a huge Singletary game. Maybe, you know, maybe Zach Moss. I feel like Zach Moss is more like kind of the workhorse guy, even though he gets less touches per game. I just feel like if they're going to just pound it on somebody, it's probably going to be Moss. So let's bump him up a little bit here and just kind of see where these numbers get to. All it does is kind of ding Singletary a little bit, you know. Maybe he sneaks in a rushing touchdown along with his 50 yards. And so, you know, not a terrible play, something to look at. But, of course, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and Josh Allen, this is without any touchdowns. Let's give them passing touchdowns. We're already up to 24 points. That's going to be your lead guy this week, unless, for whatever reason, he throws them both to Diggs, or it's not going to be both to Davis. That's just not his MO. He's got 4 total TDs this year. Stephon Diggs has 6. You know, so Stephon could be the guy with 2 touchdowns this game. Probably 1. Let's just give Gabe Davis 1, 2. So, look, I mean, these are your guys right here. You know, heavy on Josh Allen, heavy on Singletary. Maybe throw in Moss there because he sneaks away one of those rushing touchdowns. You know, at his price, that's probably a good spot. And then, I mean, Dawson Knox isn't exactly lighting it up, even with a touchdown. Let's say a little bit more of the percentage of receptions. There's 12 points. Not amazing, but you do got to fill out your roster. Definitely bank on Buffalo Bills defense this game. And these are your players right here. You know, don't really expect much out of these guys. Not really a lot going on. I don't know who we have hidden at this point. James Cook's not going to do much. Tywan Jones, oh, he's still around. I remember watching him with the Raiders. So anyway, these are your players. You got Allen, Singletary, Moss, Diggs, Davis, Roger. I mean, you know, it's not like nobody could tell you that these are your players going in, but, you know, maybe Sammy Watkins is a little bit of a sneaker, or Romeo Doubs, a little bit of this, somehow sneaks in a touchdown. You know, almost viable at 13 points if you do need to get somebody on this side of the ball, but just don't expect a lot of points out of Green Bay. So that's my look. These are my predictions. Mark them down. Let's see what happens Sunday night. Thanks for watching.